What's up, party people? It's your boy Brian. I don't have my license back, and the Mets got two hit this afternoon. They had two hits, and they were still winning until the sixth inning when Reed Garrett came in and gave up a grand slam. Anyway, I went up to a flea market, and I got a rack pack of 1984 Topps. Talked about the Mets with the guy who sold it to me, and he told me what the Mets' problem was, and I'm going to quote him on this. He said that the Mets have too many light-hitting Hispanics. So I guess they just need to get more light-hitting white guys, and then they'll be fine. Anyway, we begin with Fred Lynn. As we've discussed, Fred Lynn had a grand slam at the 1983 All-Star Game, which was like basically the biggest thing that happened in 1983. That and the final episode of MASH. That's basically all that happened. Ken Landreau. Dick Tidrow. Look at that stash. Look at that stash. Even for a relief pitcher. Even for a 1970s, 80s relief pitcher. That is magnificent. I applaud it. All right. Here's a nice Carlton Fisk. Going after a bunt, or maybe just like trying to punch someone in the face. I don't know if you guys remember the altercation between Fisk and Deion Sanders when Deion was a Yankee. Deion drew a $sign in the dirt before his at-bat started, and Fisk was like, "Not in my dirt, you don't." And, things happened. Here's former perfect game pitcher Len Barker, here with the Braves, having been traded for Brett Butler in a very, very lopsided trade because Len Barker just, wasn't that good. But Ted Turner decided he had to have him. He had to have Len Barker. There you go. Here's Scott Fletcher with the beach blanket uniform on display. That uniform was designed by a fan. I think his name was Bill Launius or something. And he had graphic design experience, but he submitted it in a contest, and he won. And he said that he was inspired by the Astros uniform, the horizontalness of it. And the reason he put the number on the thigh was because he said putting the number on the thigh keeps the jersey uncluttered. So there you have it. Andy Hassler and the Hassles. Checklist. Steve Sachs with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I heard someone got murdered in Los Angeles, and they still don't know who did it. Neil Allen, having just been traded from the Mets for Keith Hernandez. If only the Mets could trade one of their ineffective relievers for a really good guy who would be their captain and lead them to a championship, I would be very happy. It's been 40 years. Let's make that happen. Max Venable. I think that picture was taken at Shea Stadium. Maybe not. I got nothing. Rick Sweet. Look at that headshot. Look at that headshot. That is something. Checklist. Mike Boddicker. Reminds me of Clarence Boddicker from RoboCop. Kurtwood Smith, man, he did a really good job in that movie. Paul Verhoeven cast him as Clarence Boddicker because he thought Kurtwood Smith facially and physically reminded him of Heinrich Himmler. True story. Dave Engel. We had Hall of Famer Harold Baines bunting. Here is Hall of Famer Alan Trammell bunting. It is a day of bunting Hall of Famers. How about that? Frank Pastore. Athletics batting and pitching leaders. Well, you know who the batting leader is going to be. It's going to be Ricky. Of course Ricky's leading the A's in batting. Who else do you think it's going to be? Tim Conroy? I have no idea who that is. Again, all of the Athletics pitchers had had their arms blown out by Billy Martin at this point. So, some guy with a 4 ERA was their best pitcher. And finally, Larry Milbourne.